Okay, let's dive into this explainer. I want you to picture something for me. Just imagine a specific night, sometime in the future. Picture an engineer, or maybe a pilot, staring at a blinking console in total disbelief, suddenly realizing that a spacecraft is about to break the one rule Albert Einstein told us was absolutely untouchable. The rule that nothing with mass can move faster than light. And we aren't just talking about bending the rules or getting kinda close to the limit. We are talking about completely shattering it, instantly. Today, we're going to explore exactly what happens to humanity the morning after we break the universe's ultimate speed limit.
So, think about it. What if the single biggest barrier in human history just vanished? I mean, for our entire existence, we've had to measure progress in months, years, or even decades. Space is literally defined by its crushing, unimaginable distance. But if faster-than-light travel, or FTL, actually becomes a working technology built into our ships, those distances just collapse. We'd have to completely rewire how we think. We'd be trading in multi-year voyages for galactic transit lanes and weekend jump corridors. The stars wouldn't just be distant, twinkling dots in the sky anymore. They'd suddenly become our literal neighbors, our outposts, and maybe our warnings.
All right, let's get into Section 1, Breaking the Light Barrier.
The very second that impossible threshold is crossed, literally everything we thought we knew about distance, communication, and human destiny gets completely thrown out the window. Sure, Earth is still going to be there, but it's no longer the center of our imagination. Mars? Not a distant dream anymore. Star systems like Alpha Centaurus suddenly become part of our local neighborhood map. The entire paradigm shifts. It's no longer a question of if we can leave our solar system. The question actually becomes, how far can we stretch our reach before the universe itself notices we figured out how to outrun light? Because FTL travel doesn't just change where we can go, it fundamentally rewrites what we are as a species.
Which brings us to Section 2, the human reaction.
You can bet that initial disbelief on Earth would instantly pivot into a chaotic, messy storm of excitement, panic, and, let's be real, greed. Society would fracture into highly motivated factions almost overnight. Scientists would be crowding around monitors, absolutely desperate to verify this impossible data. Governments? They'd immediately demand total secrecy and control. The military would take one look at this tech and ask, okay, how do we weaponize this? Corporations would see dollar signs, just unimaginable profit, and they'd race to patent jump engines to monopolize the stars. And meanwhile, the philosophers are sitting in the corner grappling with the mind-bending reality that we might have just broken time itself.
But, underneath all that macro-level geopolitical maneuvering and corporate greed, everyday people would be asking a much more intimate question. Because faster-than-light travel doesn't just shrink physical geography, it collapses emotional distance. Families separated by entire planets could reunite in a matter of minutes. Rescue missions that were completely impossible before, now they're totally doable. This one single invention would unleash a wave of hope so incredibly powerful that it might actually be dangerous.
Now things get a bit weird in Section 3, breaking time and causality.
Here is the massive catch. There's always a heavy price to pay when humanity gains a power we were never really designed to understand. If we break the light barrier, we have to face the terrifying possibility that our entire understanding of physics is just wrong, or at least incomplete. Because faster-than-light motion isn't really just about speed, right? It's actually about time. If you can outrun light, you risk outrunning causality itself. Suddenly, the future isn't a fixed destination, it's this weird neighborhood with completely unknown rules. Our greatest fear wouldn't be a ship getting lost in space. The real fear is a ship arriving before it even left, or that making a decision in one star system somehow triggers consequences in another before the cause has even happened. The fabric of reality itself becomes incredibly fragile.
So how on earth do we actually pull this off? Well, scientists would immediately dive into some incredibly intense debates over the mechanics. I mean, are we using wormholes, warp fields? Is it powered by negative energy or exotic matter? Or maybe it's just a quantum shortcut, a trick of space-time where we aren't actually breaking the barrier, but just bypassing it entirely. This debate would turn universities into global racetracks, with billionaires and governments just throwing money at impossible experiments to be the first to nail down the next huge leap in physics.
And that leads directly into Section 4, the Interstellar Gold Rush.
The reality is, discovery almost always expands temptation. The very second FTL becomes real, the universe transforms. It stops being this beautiful, distant object of scientific study and instantly becomes a resource to exploit. Boom, Trade routes change overnight. Mineral rights on random distant asteroids suddenly become vital strategic assets. We'd see massive booming new economies built entirely around interstellar shipping. But more terrifyingly, it completely rewrites warfare. Just imagine a conflict where the side that moves first can literally appear in the sky of an enemy world before the alarm even has time to sound. Space law and international diplomacy would have to be violently and rapidly rewritten across light years, because out there, quite literally, the fastest side wins.
Okay, let's slow down for Section 5, the contested archive.
Once we get past our own human greed, we hit a much, much more unsettling realization. What if an open universe isn't an empty one? If we figure out how to travel faster than light, we are probably going to encounter things we were never meant to find. We might jump into a star system and realize it's already been mapped. We might stumble across ancient ruins, silent empires, artificial intelligences that are millions of years older than Earth, or worse, cosmic predators. We could find abandoned interstellar highways just floating out there. The most likely, and definitely the most terrifying surprise, is finding hard evidence that someone else learned to travel this way before we did.
The source material we're looking at phrases this perfectly with a really haunting realization. The galaxy is not a blank page, but a contested archive. Think about that. We wouldn't just be explorers blazing a trail. We'd be stepping into a crowded, ancient room. Humanity would be forced, finally, to face that thousand-year-old question. Are we alone? And if we aren't, are we even welcome?
Finally, Section 6, outrunning ourselves. Let's take a good hard look in the mirror. Faster-than-light travel doesn't magically fix the human condition. Actually, scratch that. It probably just enlarges our flaws, giving us a way bigger sandbox to be exactly who we already are, for better or for worse. We'd basically be staring down two radically different futures. On one hand, we could use this tech to build a shared destiny. We're talking spreading medical miracles, protecting planets, and building genuine cosmic solidarity. On the other hand, a divided humanity could easily use it to just multiply our current divisions, spreading conflict, exploitation, and extreme inequality across thousands of light years. The technology itself isn't good or bad, it just turns up the volume on what we choose to do with it.
And this unleashes a whole barrage of rapid-fire ethical questions hanging right over this new era of cosmic real estate. First and foremost, who gets to go first? Seriously, when a single FTL transit corridor becomes more valuable than an entire continent here on Earth, who actually gets the golden ticket to leave, and who is stuck staying behind?
And following right on the heels of that, who controls the route? Which governments get to claim sovereignty over the fastest paths between the stars? Which megacorporations get to control the literal toll booths to the galaxy? We already know exactly what human greed looks like when it comes to oil and land. Just try to imagine that exact same greed applied to a monopoly on interstellar highways.
Which brings us to the ultimate philosophical climax of this explainer. If we could outrun light, would we finally outrun our own limitations, or would we just carry all our baggage farther than ever before? Basically, we have to ask if humanity is actually ready for this. Can our wisdom ever really hope to travel as fast as our newly acquired power? Or are we just going to turn the entire galaxy into a bigger, shinier version of the exact same battlefield?
So, I want you to imagine it one more time. The ship is accelerating. The stars are stretching into long, bright lines outside your window. The universe is opening up like a door that was just sitting there waiting for us all along. If you could step into it, if you could leave everything you know behind and trust a machine to carry you into the complete unknown, would you go? Really think about that for a second. And hey, if this journey through the impossible got your gears turning, make sure to subscribe. Because the more we explore these wild what-if scenarios, the more we realize that the future is being built by the questions we dare to ask right now. Catch you next time.